listening to another episode of the RC Afterhours podcast. I'm your host, Andre Russo. This is actually episode number 85. Buddy, it's cold outside. Messing around in the studio this last couple of days, really paying attention to the video, and I tried something here with the webcam, and I don't think it's going to work because my main screen is there, and I keep moving my head around. Anyhow, minor distraction, which I will figure out. I've been playing around in the YouTube studio and working away on some stuff, and I'll cover that off. Podcast wise, I think we're gonna see Ali from Hangar 9 and Horizon Hobby later on in the week or so. He's just got back from this wicked epic road trip, and from what I could tell from his post, it was a pretty long drive. So rather than having him less and punchy, I figured I'd just get in, do a podcast today, because otherwise I would fail at my personal objective of doing at least once or two a month. And it is the end of January, so hey, at least I made it. It has been an absolutely fascinating second half of January, and I want to touch into that as well in the show, and a bunch of ideas, a bunch of review things that are going on. And if you're looking at the stream live, there are a couple boxes behind me which I've got to do the unboxing for. There's a little Corsair from Hobbyking that I was part of the reveal on. So a bunch of things that we're going to cover through in this show. And if you watched the update, well, you probably haven't because it's been really too close. Anyhow, I touched on the fact that I wanted to talk a little bit about the YouTube process and some of the technology that I use and try and use, and some of the new hiccups I'm discovering as I push harder and harder into this. So let's jump into it. Again, I'm Andre, and you're listening to the RC Afterhours podcast. And again, this is episode number 85, which is kind of cool, and the first one for 2021. So, hi. Broadcasting live stream, but I try not to let that distract me too much. But we're going to jump into this. So, talking about the podcast, the year started off pretty bumpy. Actually, it ended, the year in review video, podcast was probably one of my favorites. And it actually was a really solid show. I really was happy, and I took a lot of notes from that. But what I came back with and what I felt was I was missing a lot of the connectivity, and that's one thing that I really was pushing on, and had a lot of conversations, and I was almost on the fence of like, does the podcast continue? Because it felt like I was putting out a ton of effort, and we weren't getting far enough. We, as I say, as a community, we weren't getting that engagement. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of January, everything went crazy, and in a positive way. And I'm hoping that we can capitalize. I say but I talk about the podcast as a community, because it's huge. The people I get to engage with, the people that talk to me and listen and want, are really positive about their input and everything. It's huge. Good morning or afternoon, Steve. He says it was cold outside, 7 at the moment. It was minus 21 Celsius, which I think is minus 4 Fahrenheit. So yeah, buddy, it's cold outside. I thought that was a really funny title, and kind of paid tribute to some of the stuff we're going to talk about as we go on through the show. So the podcast, it was kind of crazy. I had a really long, in-depth discussion with Stuart from Hobbyking, and then we had John Davis, RC Afterhours, on a 60-inch television. That's a whole lot of Andre. Yes, sir. Thanks for stoking the ego. That's awesome. The podcast kind of I'm squirreling, and you're gonna have to just put up with it. All of a sudden, in the middle of January, the conversation started happening. The industry started, I started getting those contacts again, which was really good to talk to. So, Ali wants to come on the show and talk about all his Hangar 9 stuff, which is huge, because I get a lot of people going, hey, you don't do enough Balsa. Well, Buddy RC, Balsa, thank you. Like there's your key in, and that's all because of people from the community for who are podcast listeners, kind of tapping on them, and TJ saying, yeah, let's go, from Buddy RC saying, and TJ will be on the show. I've got part of the show notes, and I'm going to squirrel like crazy, and I do apologize. But it's nice to have the energy to talk about the show and talk about some of the ideas that we can go. And so, like I said, the opportunity to collaborate with Hobbyking, the discussions and everything, and there'll be a lot more and part of the guest series and everything. So, you know, Hobbyking wants to come on the show again with Stuart once they actually have a product that they can discuss, Stuart can discuss and everything. So that's coming. We have Ali from Hangar 9, so that's fantastic, and I'll try and reach into the Horizon Hobby envelope. And then there was a ton of really other cool comments about some of the smaller stuff, smaller providers. So we have people like Sam from Hangar RC, and stay tuned. The Texan is coming. It is coming. We basically said, you know, get your development, do everything you need to do, then we'll do the Patreon release and everything, and I'll have a chance to build one up and everything and work through the experience too. So I really am kind of excited now seeing what's going on. So, and that's put a lot of energy into me, because I don't know about the rest of you, but a lot of this COVID situation has really been sucking the will out of me to do stuff. And so part of my own creative end of it was really re-looking at my YouTube thing. And this is where some of the show is going to go into, and discussing some of that, the pitfalls of all this stuff. And the podcast doesn't have as many of those pitfalls as I find, but at the same time, you do as a creator kind of wonder, okay, input, output, and everything. And then I have to pull myself back and remind myself, it's not just about me. There's a community that's standing behind me. I haven't figured out if the podcast needs to be re-engineered, and if the show needs an extra body. I mean, a showrunner would be absolutely phenomenal to engage, but my problem is, you know, if I have to coordinate with another, it's been such a long time since I've had to coordinate with another host, let alone a guest. It's been a while since we've had a guest too. It's all been, the last couple of shows have just been me rambling. So if I had to bring in another guest and everything, so I needed to test some of this technology and everything, and start pushing a little bit the platform on how I do it, so I can bring in multiple voices besides my own into the show. So we'll see how this all maps out. There's a lot of things I have to sit down, do a little bit of engineering, see if I can put multiple guests, like I said, into Skype, and see if the software will do it and everything, and maintaining the audio quality and pushing. So there you go. The show keeps going. It keeps pumping on and everything. And so it's good news. I think it's good news. And like I said, I look at the guest lists and the guest possibilities, and I have them in my show notes. People like return guests, Joshua Orchard, Ben Harbour, we'll get them back on to discuss some of their projects. And we have Sam from Hangar RC, who wants to come in and discuss their plans and their growth and the Texan and stuff, and all their plans for 2021. As I said, Ali from Hangar 9, TJ is going to come in to talk about some of his other stuff, and then Stuart. David from Wings, the Wings Simulator. I want to get him on. He's in Montreal. He's not far from me, so I want to get him on the show. And just keep pushing in, start exploring. And that was one of the comments in the feedback from 2020. Start looking at some of the smaller supplies. So we have Wayne from Aloft Hobbies, who's interested in coming in. I've met him years ago when I did Flight Fest West. I think it was California. Yes, it was. And just link into all that stuff. And Air Bearers, yes, Air Bearers who continue to modify and develop and re-look how they're doing. And Nathan says yes, he got to go hang out with Wayne at the shop yesterday. Heck, I'll drag Nathan on the show. If you want to come on, buddy, you're more than welcome to discuss some of the stuff, because Nathan, if you look at his social media, has been doing a lot of cool stuff with his laser cutter, not printer, and finding new niches. And so it's been fun to encourage other people while they're encouraging me. So it's the community, I think, is doing well despite everything we are looking at. And a couple people were questioning why I haven't shot any of my review videos on all these planes. And frankly, we're in a COVID lockdown situation. We've been in the COVID lockdown situation since December 26th, and they keep modifying the restrictions and making them. I'm kind of hopeful come they're supposed to be middle of February, 10th of February, they're supposed to ease them back. So I'm not flying. I'm flying in the backyard, and I'll talk about that. I will talk about that. But right now, I'm not doing interviews because by the letter of the law, it's not considered essential. And the flying field here, my local flying field, is closed. And, going to the park with my airplane isn't what I would determine as essential. So you can look at multiple angles of how to determine it. That is my determination on the situation. So I'm not going to risk I'm not going to risk getting a fine going flying an airplane because, it's not exercise. It's not essential. I don't need to be out. So yeah, I'm not going to harp on that because it is depressing and I'm tired of the COVID blahs. I really am. But I did something about it. I've been shoveling in the backyard. If you looked at one or two of those RC truck videos, it's me experimenting with how to do content differently and adapt and change and everything. And then I did the update where I flew the 95X. I called it the X95 during the entire review, but it's the 95X. This is a little drone beta flight, little 4S thing, but it's like a giant tiny whoop with a big old cage on it. It's perfect for flying in the backyard and skipping past trees and everything. Check out that video if you're interested. I had a lot of fun doing that, and that was me playing around with content. Professionally, I do video content and everything. So when I want to do fun videos, I want them to be fun and easy to produce. And I've been noticing as I've been going through, and I think the flight reviews, I try and do at a higher rate of production, but I want to keep the other stuff a little bit more lightheaded. So this was me playing around. And if you looked at my social media, if you follow me on Instagram, AndreGT6, or if you just search the hashtag Blame Andre with an accent at the E, or even the other one, maybe I've overtaken that one, you'll see I've been having some technology issues, and I've been kind of trying to figure out what I want to do with all that stuff. Where is it? I got it here. I've been rocking, and I had to check my notes, I've been rocking this Canon EOS M, which is like old. This camera was introduced in 2012. I've been rocking this thing since 2016, so it's got 4+ years of content creation with me. Good camera, but in the last little while I was noticing like, wow, this picture is terrible. It's grainy, there's a lot of noise. I'm not happy overall with the look and feel and the sharpness and compared to modern stuff. So the last update I actually shot with my iPhone, and it wasn't bad. The skin tone is really wacky inside. I don't know what it's doing. I managed to correct that in post, but still, it was a different workflow, and it wasn't too bad. The ironic thing is I spent all that time, energy, and space to make a 4K video just to try it out, and it's still 18 hours later, and YouTube is still chewing on it. My specs are correct and all this jazz. So I mentioned earlier in the week, I was questioning the reality of 4K. The retro filter, someone said. Yes, it could be. But the other half of it is, I suspect too, is I recently upgraded my laptop, and I think the screen resolution is that much sharper, because I looked back at the other old videos and it was like, this Canon was a leap above what I was shooting with previously before I upgraded, because I was shooting, like, you look at some of the early YouTube videos I did, it was really atrocious. And so the steps have been there. So now I'm kind of like, and you look outside and the GoPro and the Osmo's action, the DJI Osmo action outside in that light in 4K, the blue skies, everything looked great. Even the RunCam 2 4K edition did okay. It's obviously got a smaller sensor, and that's what it's all about, the sensor size and everything. And I think that's why that Canon is suffering in the environment, even though I'm throwing studio lighting at it and everything. It's just too old. So where's this all going? Well, I'm in the middle of looking at other cameras, and I could throw up the list. And I have the mild, and I said in my Facebook my Instagram post, I have the mild to wild, and we're talking like mild, like the next generation, the M50, and then wild is like a Panasonic the camera's like $2,400 with a really nice lens, and it's kind of like, do I want to invest that much? And input output. So it's been fascinating, and I've had some really awesome conversations on the subject matter. People like Dave Knopp and I, and then Alex Zavada, just discussing YouTube's philosophies. And it's anybody who doesn't do YouTube will probably find this insightful. If you are on it, you already know, and you get sucked into the gear, you get sucked into the style, you get sucked into the analytics, and you're sitting here going, what am I doing wrong? And you know, I've got some great friends who've had super success in their channels, and they go and they look at my channel, and it's just kind of ticking along at 3,000 subscribers, and I've been posting videos for a long time. So, okay, fine. My style isn't mass consumption style, like I'm not doing those things. So I'm playing around with that, but is it my goal? And I don't think it is my goal. I think I'm just doing videos for the sake of doing videos. I want to do solid reviews. I want to really respect those suppliers who are spending their money to ship planes to me, their costs and everything, like Buddy RC, Hobby King, Great Hobbies, all these people who are taking their everybody's got their review budget, and they're willing to send them to me, because sending anything to Canada obviously is a little extra financial burden. So I want to make sure my products that I'm doing are professional. Now, whether they're all super consumable and the biggest clicks, rates and everything, I don't even know. So we'll see. Do we need a GoFundMe for a haircut? Oh, thank you, Adam. You're so nice. No, the hair is not getting cut. Actually, I'll give you guys a little tidbit on that one too. Checked my notes. The last haircut I got was in February last year, so we're approaching 1 year. Actually, legitimately, I think the salons are all still closed here in Ontario. So tough luck. It's going to keep going. My wife hates it. My wife's hates it. It's squirrel. We're squirreling here. So on the YouTube thing, I am, and that was part of the spiral, the early January spiral, where you're sitting here going, what am I doing wrong? Why am I doing it wrong? How am I doing it wrong? And then it comes back to, do I care? Am I better off doing it my own way? And the answer is, yeah. I'm doing it my way. And that's always been the philosophy of the YouTube channel, and I think a little bit of philosophy of the podcast. Do what I can to do really solid content. So in the video, I explained that, I'm trying to find the mechanisms I need, the gear I need, and that was a really amazing discussion with Dave Knopp about that, like the hacks that I could use, so I have clean audio, that the editing is fast, and I can get the shots I want and everything. So I shot a lot of it with the Osmos, and the audio wasn't bad. I still had my clip mic, but I had to synchronize everything, and just, it's like, come on, faster, and the better and the faster I can do. I'm offering to send some clippers, John Davis. Thanks, guys. You're my friends. I will allow the mockery. It's all good. But no, my hair's not getting cut. It looks freaking awesome. Actually, no, it's starting to look a little ratty and everything. So whatever. So on the YouTube stuff, I'm going to continue to produce content. I'll continue to play with it and everything, and we'll see how it goes. Don't know where I'm going with this camera yet. It is a priority because I looked at the videos and I don't want to actually shoot any more. Whoops! I whacked the mount. I don't actually want to shoot any more videos with the Canon because the quality bugged me so much that I actually it didn't. The quality bugged me so much that I didn't actually want to do any more videos. So I started fiddling around and everything, and so the iPhone worked, but the process is cumbersome. Actually, the files are so big you can't airdrop it. You've got to actually plug the thing into your computer, download the video, and there's always hiccups there, right? So I tried the action cams. The action cams are okay, but they're not designed for that kind of work. Like they're good cutaway cameras and stuff like that. They don't like the exposures with the lighting and everything, so it's not the ideal situation. So I'm going to go into a camera eventually and pick something up. So there you go. If you want more in-depth drilling into YouTube and everything, by all means, tag me on it. Tell me what you guys think, and I can talk a little bit further on it, because I'm learning a lot from it too, and it's been interesting. The channel saw some decent growth actually this week, because Hobbyking, they asked me to do a technical update on the little Corsair, the flight controller. A little stabilizer had an issue. And so I went through really quick and shot an updated video. Like, the packaging was done, and I actually went back and reshot it all. So it was kind of funny, because I had the plane in December, and I was going to go fly it, and then they were like, don't fly it, the controller's all wacky. And I'm like, all right, I'll wait. And then boom, we get locked down and everything, because it was right around Christmas that they shut everything down. And so I was like, darn it, I can't even go and fly this aircraft. Anyhow, really quickly shot that, and they were like, this is fantastic. So, and then the studio has been coming along. There's a nice monitor beside me that my parents were retiring and changing, so I put that up, and everybody digs that, and it's kind of cool. So whenever I do a product review, throw the company's ID up on the monitor. Pow, nice little reinforcement in the background. I would have used it here, but it's too high, so, and maybe I'm going to reconfigure how I do this, but it's been, all part of this whole package of me redoing how I do the content and looking at how I do the content in this environment. So it's I'm just reading some of the hair comments. Like, seriously guys, like, we got better things to discuss, right? -5, no wind, and flying. Yeah, I do want to go flying. I miss it actually. So like I said, getting out into the backyard, doing the truck stuff was good, and that was me figuring out how I'm going and figuring out how to change the video and some of those discussions about the YouTube content. More conversation was the thing I heard. People wanted to know and wanted to hear me talking, and I'm like, that's crazy, but okay, I can talk. So those things are coming up. So you guys are not helping me keep my frame of mind here. It's awesome. There's a ton of hair chat, COVID hair chat in the chat. So I'll put that up there so everybody can read and giggle on the video. So I started really refocusing on how to do some of the YouTube video and the content just on those comments. So a little bit more conversation, a little bit more instructional. And that was another comment that someone made when they were looking at one of my videos, going, if I spun and I gave a little bit more directional attention to how a new flyer, a new pilot is going to react to this thing. So yeah. Actually, okay, jumping back into the chat, one of the interesting, Drone Lord, is the hobby still having problems with things coming out of China? I mean, other than DJI for their political or their technology issues. There have been, and we'll jump back into the YouTube stuff, but I want to hop on that topic because it's a good one. There have been suppliers like Dynam and other suppliers telling me that they're having issues with cargo containers. And actually, hey, next week is Chinese New Year. So if your order isn't out and gone, forget it. I know here in Canada, stuff is coming in, and it's coming in really slowly because Canada Post and even like the Border Security CBSA, they're really controlling the input warehouses and everything to keep the COVID issues down because they're running up against that wall. So yes, collectively there are issues across the board, U.S., Canada, anything, probably stuff into Europe. Because they're really having people power problems where they just, trying to keep everybody safe, trying to be mindful of it. So I think one of the things I have taken away from my 2020 experience is that everything is still happening, but pull back. Lower your expectations. It will happen, just it won't happen as fast. And that's fine. There's nothing bad about that. There's nothing wrong with that. So so yeah, I think if everybody just is stays relaxed, calms, breathes, does their their yoga exercises or whatever, and I think we can make it through. And that's my positive output message, I guess. So, all right, where was I? YouTube, yes. So, because I can't get out to the fields, don't know when I'm going to get out to the fields, I've really started thinking about how I can do things different. So that's where all of a sudden the quads are coming back into my life. You can thank Captain Jerome for this little baby. With everybody going digital, if you're still an analog person, which I haven't gone digital yet, no DJI HD in my inventory yet, but if you're an analog guy, everybody's selling off their digital stuff. They're jumping over to their digital stuff, and I picked this thing up for a scream, ordered some batteries from Great Hobbies, and we'll be flying for us. It flew great on 3S. It flew with a run cam on it and everything, and I was having a hoot. Now, what did I learn? I have to do that coding right away. It stopped flying after I got too much snow and got wet, and so I had to stop actually flying the quad because I had to let it dry out. Actually, it wouldn't boot up. It kind of freaked me out because I was like, oh my god, I got no EFE. The transmitter isn't working, and it just got wet and was like, nope, not booting up. So I put that thing away, and analog. Long live analog, says Alex. And I think you're right. If I have the opportunity to jump digital, oh yeah, I will, because I want to know. I want to experience. I've only flown on the old DJI goggles with the Air, and that was with the boys back at Flight Test a long time ago at this point. If I can do it, I will. If not, I think I'm investing in a good camera, right? Because that's going to do more for me as far as a content creator, a good camera, because I can fly just as good on analog. Okay, I'm not getting the really good recording, but if I go and I buy a naked cam, or I use my 1080 cam that I stripped down, or just the run cam on anything, I mean, I literally strapped it to the top of the battery and I went flying, and you guys got content, right? That's how you saw, the backyard. I was super leery about shooting in the backyard, and I said, well, people have seen this before. You go back, look at some of the old videos, and I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I can go shooting. And so, cut the track there the other weekend for the trucks, and broke another truck, but had fun doing and shooting and exploring, and then the quads. So as soon as I seal this guy up, as soon as I build up the other one, go around with the clippers and snip, because the trees kept snaking me out of the air, which is no good. Flown, Smack FPV says he's flown both analog and FPV in digital and analog, and yeah, it is a completely different level. I'm kind of wondering. Mama says, Alex, Mama says digital is still the devil. Oh, no, my friend. Oh, my goodness. I think it's one of those things. Once you start down that path, you are so doomed. And, but the systems are going to get cheaper. Hopefully the Hobbyking, the flight test. Hopefully the Fat Shark technology catches on too, because I think they can do it a little tiny better as far as smaller, because the way their boards are and everything. But all this stuff is going to get smaller. You're going to get more people to fly. You're going to get better views and everything. So fingers crossed. I really do hope that along the way the stuff becomes more accessible, less costly and everything. And if they do it right, even if you drop the power down and do a little frequency skipping and stuff like this, drink the Kool-Aid. It is, but I agree. I've seen the videos, I've seen the outputs and everything, and just the clarity, and it's just that experience. And that's why we fly the FPV ships, I think. Like, you get to see something different, or you fly your little mini and stuff like that. But the fact that they're able to load something like this with a digital system and keep it under 250. I have the Explorer, which I haven't even flown yet, because I was worried about getting it into the snow. This one was a lot less to acquire than my Explorer. But I'm going to strip this guy down real quickly, very shortly, and I'm going to put that coating onto it. I've been warned to do it in the garage or outside, because it's, I've been happy with the quads again. It's kind of fun to rediscover. It's kind of nice to see how stable and how progressed the technology has come along, and I'll keep shooting fun little videos and get better at it, get back into the groove, because I laughed about halfway through the first pack. I started going, okay, where's the gaps? Where are the gaps? And if you watch that video, you'll see I've got plans for that area. And I think this is why something like, these polycarbonated, reinforced, basically they're tiny whoops, they're giant tiny whoops. Anything with with the cages on them to protect the props and everything, you can brush up against a tree and you're not going to fall out of the sky now. So a little bit more durability, a little bit more, punch it through a hole and have a little bit of fun. So going to fly this on 3S, 4S in the backyard and giggle away. And then as restrictions are reduced, I'll get out some of the other stuff and just go and just explore and enjoy. And all in the sub 250 gram class, which I'm still, call me crazy, sub 250, I think, is going to explode this year for exactly what we're talking about today. Just, people going to the parks real quick, going to go to a quick flight. It's sub 250. I don't have to go to my flying field. I don't have to worry about registering and all this stuff because, there's all the new regulations from the FAA with the transponders and everything. Sub 50, unless they go and change the rules, right? But it's been so amazing to see the technology just, oh yeah, hold my beer kind of scenario. Watch this. And, we're getting down where we're getting the runtime, we're getting the performance, we got GPS, we got, fail safes, we got alarms, all this stuff. And, it's okay. And sub $200. I think I saw Joshua Bardwell talking about one of the really nice drones, and it was like sub $200, right? What kind of flight times am I getting, Alex asks, out of this little guy? I think realistically, I was flying on a 3S 800, but I have 450s, which I think will give me about 5 minutes. It all, your mileage will vary based on how you fly, right? I mean, if you're punching the throttles and pushing out and everything, really wringing it out, obviously you're not going to see a huge amount of flight time. But I was just cruising around the backyard, just getting used to this machine, horizon mode, air mode and stuff like that. And it didn't really, didn't hurt it other than getting snow into it, because I kept clipping this one particular tree and just dumping it into the snowbanks. Oh well, watch the video. It's funny. It's a good 6 minutes of me goofing around and just getting used to a new product, right? So, and let me know what you think. If you watch that YouTube, leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think and just where to go with it. So, okay. So I've talked away about all the ideas and various strategies and everything for YouTube. Let's get back into the crux of this channel, and that is talking about airplanes. So sitting behind me, where's the browser stuff? We're gonna jump right to the big dogs. Main screen, full screen. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I opened the box really quickly, and I got to do the full unboxing. I'll probably at this point do it tomorrow, Monday. OMP BigHorn 49-inch Pro flat version aircraft, Balsa. You guys kept saying, Andre, you got to do more Balsa. We want to hear more about Balsa. Balsa, Balsa, Balsa. Boom. Literally, when TJ messaged me that he was sending the stuff, that they'd finally got everything sorted out and they were sending this stuff to me, I basically let him know that I had been on a personal, I was on the edge of my, okay, what do I do? What am I doing wrong for this podcast, right? So, and so it was really nice. It was a really big push of the day. So mine's the green one. I love it. It looks so cool. It's sitting in behind my head, but it's on the screen. So for you guys listening, because it is an audio podcast, I'll run through some of these specs. Do they have the specs on their page? They do. I'm going to be flying mine with a FR Sky receiver, but they're plug and play. So, you just need to, depending on the version you get, you do have to spec up some of it, but I have a plug and play. So what's on board? Let Let me look and try and find the specs real quick for you guys so I can at least give you some of the information. So it flies on a 3S. It's a 49-inch Balsa built up. Mine is in the signature color of green, white, and blue. Looks amazing. It's an Aura cover film. It came with a bunch of nice decals, which I will slather all over that airplane, as I said in the other video. And just, pay respect to the fact that these guys, that Buddy RC and OMP are actually putting a little bit of energy, putting themselves out and sending this product to the podcast. It's huge. I mean, I don't even know what the shipping was from Ohio or wherever it came from to me. Don't have the specs, unfortunately, on this page. I don't see them. So 40 amp ESC. So it says recommended parts for the ARF. Anyhow, it's a Sunny Sky 2820 1100 kV motor, 40 amp ESC, 12 by 6.5 prop, 6 servos. They recommend the 17 gram nylon digital metal gear, which makes sense. If you're really pushing the airplane, yeah, nylon's not going to do it. But it looks fantastic in these color schemes. So I'm really excited about this one. And, the podcast over the years, we've gone on just how important having a high wing airplane is. And if this thing flies as well as I think it's going to fly, I may actually be finally releasing, some of my other high wing planes just because, I'm going to have to make room in the environment. If anybody's watched my social media, my wife's rule. For every new plane that comes in, I got to get rid of two. And so this is going to take a little bit of effort because I'm actually whittling the fleet down, and that just happens over time. But I'm actually, running into difficulties with getting what's next. What am I comfortable getting rid of? So I'm really excited to fly this one. Again, I'm going to put an FR Sky. I'm probably going to run my higher punch 3S 2200s. Kind of surprised me that it's a 3S airplane. I would have expected this thing to be on 4S, but I'll have to do a little bit more reading because this thing on 4S would be an absolute riot. If am I right? Okay. The next one from Buddy RC, and all the links will be in the video and in the podcast release. So if you want to check there, they are affiliate links. Show your love, show your, click on them, whatever. Show, these guys that you guys are following and supporting the podcast. Numbers mean everything to everybody, right? So do me a favor, click on stuff, and All right, the Challenger. Now, the BigHorn 49-inch is it's a proper size aircraft. So if you're a little bit space challenged, I think the Challenger is a good alternative. It is not as big. It still flies on a 3S 2200. But the wingspan is actually, I take that back, it is a 49-inch wingspan as well. So it's just a slightly different style aircraft, which is kind of cool. So the one that I got is the red one, which is what's showing in the pictures if you're watching. It looks really cool. And you can actually they've got a red one and they got a blue one. I really do dig the red one. And it's kind of got a little bit of a stick look to it. So, really looking forward to it. Oh, by the way, price-wise, the Challenger is $200 and the BigHorn is $280 US. So still pretty darn respectable for a plug-and-play. And they basically pitch these series as budget-friendly plug-and-play Balsa, which is, I think, a first for the industry as far as availability. And I just really like the fact that they're doing something a little different. I mean, the planes look phenomenal. I can't wait to assemble them. I don't think the assembly process is going to be hard, big, and a lot of effort. So we'll find out really quickly. Again, they're saying 3S 2200, 6-channel receiver. So this is basically your basic 4-channel airplane. Which looks really good. Rudder elevator. Maybe I'll split the ailerons on this one so I can do a little bit of flapper on kind of style or stuff like that. So pretty cool. Looking forward to flying these. Stay tuned. We'll be doing I'll do 2 videos actually for each one each, full proper unboxings. But again, huge shout out to Buddy RC and OMP for supporting the podcast in this way. It's pretty big. Affiliate links everywhere, and I have to check my notes, but Buddy RC recently came back too and also said they will do a discount, 10% discount for the RC After Hours channel. So if you go to theirs and use the code word RC After Hours, all lowercase, one word, 10% off your purchases. So how much assembly required? Well, it's a good question, Smack FPV. It looked pretty simple. Stay tuned. I will let you know. You can watch the video when it comes out. I'm probably going to do it. If I don't do them tonight, I'll do them tomorrow because it's just, if you look over the window, it's decent outside, good enough to go for a walk and everything. Want to spend some time with the family. So, yeah. But again, huge shout out. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. Okay, I was talking about that BetaFPV, the ship. Throw that up there real quick on it. Spec wise, now they're actually already on to V3 of this thing, and I think V3 it's basically like, you know, firm flight controller, small little tweaks. It was funny because I was like, oh look, they put a little foam bumper on it, and I didn't realize it was just a little layer of foam that they just tape on. It's taped foam. It's more for indoors, so I'm not worried about that. I flew the thing inside once and said, it's too much. It's too big in here. So spec wise, I'll flip the specs on this thing really quick. 1106 motors, 4500 kV, F405 board. It uses some GemFams D63 3-bladed props. It does support the naked cam and all that. One day when I can afford one, I'll look at either a naked or Insta360 Go. But mucho dinero, eh? For such a tiny little camera. That's the digital. They're all pretty well the same. They recommend a 4S 450, but this thing flew just fine on the 3S. So if you don't want to go 4S, it will work. Something like this works just fine. Just be aware that your punch outs, I think that's where you're going to be really weighs the weight, and that's the big thing. Without the battery, everything 99 grams. Loaded up, I think I was well under sub 250, so that's pretty cool. Your receiver is your flavor of choice. The only real thing you'll see in the video is I wasn't in love with that EOS V2 camera. The colors were weird. Looked good on Captain Drone's video in the summer. I think it was the snow, and so I had to tweak it in post and everything, and so I'm going to fiddle around with that, try and eke a little bit more resolution out of it. Flight times. Here you go. 3.5 minutes on a 450 4S 75 in smooth flight in windless conditions. So there you go. There's the flight answer. And they recommend a 4S 450. Oof. There you go. Cool little ship. I'm thrilled that I was able to get my hands on it. All right. Next one. There's the Hobbyking Aircraft again. Affiliate link in there. Just tracking. Show some love. It's all about, encouraging these guys. But from the conversation I had with Hobbyking earlier in the week, we're in good hands. I think we're going to be having a long, really nice event. It's just nice to have that conversation. It's nice to know that they are aware and they're willing to support the podcast and all the efforts and energy that I put into stuff like this. So, fun little airplane. Let's see. From Global, they've only got 5 left on the Eachine Corsair, the 750. This is by the way, the 4th. Someone corrected me in the video. I said it was the 3rd plane in the series. It is the 4th. There was the Raider, and then the Mustang, and then the Hawker, and then the Corsair. So, I made a mistake. It happens. 5 left global from the global warehouse, and in the U.S., I don't think the U.S. market, out of the U.S. warehouse, they still have it. Fun aircraft. I can't wait to go flying with it. I really do hope I can get out there. I may even, like you saw if you follow the Facebook for the Flag podcast, I was talking about throwing skis onto this thing, and maybe I will. We'll see. I think it could take the weight. I think there's enough thrust and everything. The big thing I'm waiting on is spare props. They don't have any stock yet of spare props, so as soon as that comes in, I will, because it would suck to have this aircraft grounded before I get to go flying. I like how they started to put the numbers left. Brian Chambers says, I like how they put the numbers in. Oh yeah, you get there and go, ooh. And I don't know if they're going to continue making more 750 millimeter aircraft. As I said in my video, You know what I like about these airplanes, the smaller ones? Okay, they're not under 250 grams, but they're easy to store. They're easy, they're akin to UMX. But once you put the gear on, you can't fit them back in the box. Well, you can't fit them back on the box once you build once you put the top on the vertical stab and everything. So, oh well. But they don't take up a lot of space, and the mini aircraft, it's like the mini flight test planes. Just put them somewhere. They can stack, and you can take a bunch out to the field. The batteries are a little cheaper, so they're easy to feed. They're easy to take care of. Can't wait to go flying with this one. It's been too long, and so I'm looking forward to going. Part of the positive news too was I was posting something. I think I was talking about my Sonic Wing, which I haven't even finished because, if I have to wait to go flying, I'll finish it when I have a chance. And I get a message from Gary from Great Hobbies. And I was like, hey, man. And so I don't know if this is going to happen yet, but he said they're selling Sonic and Zahod, Z-O-H-D. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. Same manufacturer. I had no idea. I was like, okay, cool. And he says, are you interested? And what would you be interested in? And I'm like, well, sub 250. So I put a proposal together. We'll see if the Dart sub 250 happens. I figured, looking at stuff, and that was also another interesting conversation with other suppliers, talking about what interests you guys. Everything interests me, but it's more, what is the community going to want to see and listen to everything? So I said, a little sub 250 that you can throw easy and stuff, so forth. It's got a little bit of stabilization. They even sell a GPS package, so you get basically it's like iNav, their version of it. They're run on iNav or whatever, but it has a return to home feature. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. So stay tuned. If that happens, awesome. We'll have Great Hobbies supporting the podcast. Well, they have always supported me in the podcast. Their stickers are all over the place around here, and so if that happens, super awesome. All right, next one in the house. Boom. The Texan. Again, as I mentioned, there is a discount code as well from Hangar RC, and the Texan is coming. It is coming. Am I calling it a Texan or a Harvard? Again, Sam apologized for the delay. There were some technical issues that he was all... the poor guy had an evil week. We were both commiserating at just how crazy the week had been. Again, if you're a podcast Patreon supporter and your name is on the list when we go and do the draw, you might win one. Awesome, eh? So there are a bunch of different color schemes for this aircraft coming out and everything. I think it runs on a 3S package as well. I don't remember what the tech was behind it. We'll know soon enough. But really looking forward to this. I think there's going to be a special RC After Hours livery as well. Hey? Got that wicked logo. So there you go. That's super awesome. Huge shout out. Can't wait to get Sam on the show and everything. And apologize for the delays for that, but I wanted to make sure you dude's on a whole other level when it comes to this industry and trying to do stuff. And I know what his mission plans and objectives are. So any kind of energy I can put to him, that's so cool. Hey Andre, how much room is there for a 3S 850 in the Corsair? A question from Shady. It's behind me. So where is the battery? I don't have a battery here. As I explained in that last update on the Corsair, right there, it depends on if your battery is how fat it is versus long. Because someone else said they were getting an 800, but their 800s were slimmer. There's this little ridge of foam to help the structure behind the firewall where the hatch comes off, and I just had to trim that away. And once that was trimmed away, I could get my 800 in there just fine and hit the CG really nicely. And I even changed the JST connector out for an XT30. So the question is, so Shady, to answer your question, don't know. It depends on your battery, but actually, hold on. You're in luck. I won't get my caliper out, but I'll get a ruler And I can tell you that my 3S, these are just 20C batteries. It's about an inch wide, my battery, and about 3/4 of an inch tall. And I've got my Velcro in there. So, and that fits in there without using the Velcro. It's kind of smushed in there and locked. So if you have to trim away a little bit of foam, it's not too hard. You get a really long X-Acto knife and just hack it away. And, you kind of have to be careful you don't crush it or anything, but the airplane seemed pretty structure-wise. There, just get rid of that roller. Structure-wise, it looked pretty darn good. So thanks for that question. Oh, right. Where was I? We were talking away. I haven't reviewed the Banggood. Sorry, I did the unboxing for that Banggood P51, the little 1S. Again, it's in the queue to be flown, so everything's in the queue to be flown. So when I am allowed to go, boy, it's going to be like bang, rapid fire on that. Slap the camera on board, put the camera on my head, put a camera on the ground, go. Fly 1 or 2 packs and just get them done, do them well, and then we go from there, right? And do the thoughts and theories and everything back here in the studio just to limit the time outside, because the last thing I heard was they were probably going to recommend wearing masks outside all the time, so I'll look like Darth Vader. I don't know. I got a black mask. It's kind of cool. All right, where was I? Yes. So yeah, talking about that from Sam and Hangar RC, the Patreon's awesome. If you want to become a patron, it's pretty easy, pretty simple. I think I still owe stickers to people. I have to go check that. Been neglectful, but yeah, it's been really cool having you guys and talking to the ones who do fire in feedback and everything. So, like I said, RC Afterhours podcast at gmail.com, pretty simple, or you can message me through any of the social media devices and everything. So if you need to get a shot to me, and if you're looking for swag, yeah, it's shop.spreadshirt. I got to speak English now. Shop.spreadshirt.com/RC Afterhours for all your various merch. I love these t-shirts. I love how that new logo came out. It really put the show together nicely. Where's that camera view? Bang. Let's go with the chat view. Okay, so I'm just covering off all my notes for this podcast, and looks like we're approaching 50 odd minutes of podcasting, so that's pretty good. Guess I'll be using, back on the batteries for the plane, I'll be using my 952S Graphenes. Stuart said it flew really nice on the on 2S. It's more of a scale feel, so I guess, yeah, as long as you watch how you're putting the power through and everything, you'll definitely want to watch your dives, obviously, so you don't have thrust. But he said it flew great on 2S and flew great without the stabilizer too, which I believe him. So it looked like a pretty balanced aircraft. When I fly mine, I will fly it with the stabilizer, the Hobbyking Corsair, and then I'll probably remove it or try without. And the reason I want to do that is because then I can put the receiver where the stabilizer was, and you have even more room in that bay to load, because right now where the receiver's stuck, it's jammed in there. It's right over top the rear control surfaces. So I'm just going through my notes and seeing if I've missed anything before we wrap up this podcast. I think I got it all. So, oh well. It's been a absolute fantastic morning to chat with you guys, afternoon to chat with everybody. Again, hit those, hit all the social media, write in your feedback. If you're a subscriber through any kind of your podcast apps and everything, and you can do reviews, fire that through. It makes a difference. It elevates the podcast and everything. And again, super thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the encouragement. And keep those manufacturers honest. Support them if you can. Support your local hobbies, stores and everything. Again, thanks for putting out all those comments and everything to all the various suppliers, encouraging them to be part of this crazy little podcast of ours. It's been really interesting the last month, and I said it really put some fuel and fire into me to really push hard again. So that's been awesome. Okay. My name is Andre. You've been listening to the RC After Hours podcast, episode number 85, titled "Buddy, It's Cold Outside." Everybody have a great afternoon, and we'll have a good chat. And fly safe, have fun. Thanks. Bye.